Well, all right, y'all. This is the second review that I'm gonna do. Still haven't come up with a name yet. Still working on that. Yeah. So this is gonna cover 205 Live as well as NXT from last night, October 3rd, which is Wednesday. So I guess we're gonna start off with 205 Live. The show starts with just the GM Drake Maverick talking about how awesome 205 Live and how people, should watch and look at the matches. 205 Live really don't get a lot of credit as it should. Compared to the main roster, 205 Live is quite underrated, especially now that Triple H took over. And it's a much better product than when Enzo was champ. I'm sure we all remember that travesty. So the first match of the night was Akira Tozawa versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher with Brian Kendrick and Drew Gulak. So it was fairly back and forth. It was a lot of technical wrestling involved. Drew Gulak and his no-fly zone. He not one particularly fond of the flipping and the high flying acrobatics and stuff. He likes to be more grounded, more in the old school sense of the word. It was a nice pinning sequence that Gallagher and Tozawa shared going back and forth, which was it was good. It was good. It was so fast paced. Like I'm kind of stuck the best way to really try and to explain it. But there was also a lot of rest holds too. I guess because of the whole technical ability of Tozawa being one of the high flyers and Gallagher, with the whole no fly zone and Drew Gulak keeping everything more mat based. It was a nice little head scissors. Tozawa did like this head scissors thing that he turned it into an armbar somehow. And then it got like reversed into a power bomb by Gallagher. Like I'm telling you, like these 205 competitors, man, like they really get the short end of the stick. And it's kind of sad that they have the limited time space that they do, or they don't get as much recognition as they do. It's not as good as NXT. Not anywhere as close, but it should not be. Excuse me. It should not be doing as bad as it is. Okay, and then finally we got Tozawa doing the Kenton off the top rope, which is like pretty much he just does like a splash with his back. And sorry, that all those are my notes that I took last night for the review. And Tozawa wins over to Gallagher 1, 2, 3. Then afterwards we got Drew Gulak who comes in the ring, cuts a heel promo with his PowerPoint presentation. How about the 205 division needs no mercy and weak links, and they don't need any weak links in the bunch anymore. I guess with the group of Gulak, well, Gallagher and Kendrick. So then they jump Brian Kendrick and then they go over into the back. Then we got a video package, which is more like I guess you could say like supposedly like a training montage for Super Showdown Saturday's cruiserweight title match between Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. Really nothing much, like I'm gonna beat you and yeah, I'm gonna beat you and the usual. Nothing really special about that. From there we go to Drake Maverick backstage segment, and the next time I think Tozawa and Hideo Itami have a match. It's gonna be something that nobody's ever gonna forget. So that was a vague cliffhanger of sorts. After that little quick 15-second segment, we got our next match of the night, which is Kalisto versus TJP. And TJP is crazy. He is wild, disrespectful. He got a lot of talent, but the disrespect doesn't, make up for the talent that you have. Some people have great talent and can be disrespectful, and it's like, okay, whatever, this person, they're just that damn good to where they can do that. TJP, not so much. Mind you, this is also the main event of the evening for 205 Live. They only had 2 matches. I understand it's supposed to be an hour-long show. Maybe it's about 45 minutes, take away the commercials. But 2 matches, I think they could have did better with that. NXT has at least maybe 3, sometimes 4. And that has the same amount of time as 205 Live. I don't know. But there was a lot of flips and stuff. Kalisto being a lucha libre star, and how they did in Mexican wrestling. They like to do a lot of flips and acrobatic things and things that'll make you like, oh my god, that's what made WCW so good back in the mid to late '90s. TJP rips off the back of Kalisto's mask because he doesn't care about Mexican tradition in wrestling and the significance of what a mask means to a wrestler, and it was pretty bad for Kalisto majority of the match. I would say throughout the match, maybe TJP had about 80% of the offense. Kalisto had about 20%. There's a nice victory roll, like sunset flip combo that turned into a near fall that Kalisto did on TJP off the turnbuckle, and which after that Kalisto won by pin. It really wasn't anything that stood out in the matches, let alone in the program, outside of the high spots, no pun intended, flipping in. Like, oh my god, stuff that you wouldn't generally see on the main roster or on an NXT show. Then after that, he rips off TJP, rips off Kalisto's mask, and that pretty much is how the show ends. Yeah, that's how it ended. So 205 Live, they could still do a lot better. I don't know, maybe they need to work on expanding the division more to a broader fan base, because a lot of the 205 wrestlers are, underappreciated and undervalued because of the skills that they may have, whether it be acrobatic or technical, which is not like the soap opera gimmicky stuff that you see on mainly Raw, not so much SmackDown, because SmackDown is a soap opera too. It's not compared to the main roster. So now, after 205 Live, we head on to NXT. So NXT starts off with Nikki Cross doing a backstage segment addressing Bianca Belair and GM William Regal, how she wants a rematch and how she wants to play, and Nikki Cross from Sanity is quite a character, a bit loony, and that's what makes her unique. And yeah, so that was just that, nothing major, just Nikki Cross being Nikki Cross. We start off with the wrestling of the evening with Candice LeRae versus Lacey Evans, which was pretty. That was good for a women's division match, especially with two new up and coming talents that maybe a lot of folks might not have heard of unless you wanted a hardcore indie wrestling fans, especially Candice LeRae. Obviously, a lot of people know her as Johnny Gargano's wife. So, and how she's played into some of the storylines involving Gargano and his quest for the NXT Championship and him being the underdog. They had some stints with Andrade, Almas, and Vega, while Vega and Almas were in NXT before they got called up to SmackDown. Lacey Evans, the lady of NXT, a former Marine, and wow, she is whoa. Like, I mean, she kind of has like this pinup model type thing going, and she calls herself the lady of NXT, and she's a heel, and like the size compared to the two is like a female version of David and Goliath. But the chemistry that they had was really good, really good with each other, to especially for such a size difference. Okay, so we've had Lacey and Candice go back and forth, just typical mundane offense, so to speak. But more or less the combat, if you will, wasn't what really was captivating me. It was more or less the storytelling about how Lacey would call Candace like a pathetic wife, and how Johnny, you know, settled for like her, and just really getting herself heat, and making it seem like, okay, putting Candace in the same situation as her husband in terms of being an underdog and in terms of the size and everything. Uh, Lacey won with the woman's right, which is like I guess her version of like Big Show's knockout punch. Is just like, oh, she's out. So that was a fairly good match for a women's division match. Not nothing too strenuous, nothing too much. Next, we got a video package for next week where they'll have there will be a triple threat match for the NXT North American Championship between Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, who's the NXT UK champion, and Ricochet, who's the current NXT North American champion. And all I have to say, for me personally, after seeing some of Ricochet's matches and Adam Cole, just seeing that North American Championship match, and seeing Pete Dunne, since he came in after, with the whole NXT UK and NXT champion, UK championship, and defeating Tyler Bate for that. Like, this series, this is going to be crazy. The next set is another backstage segment, but this one is with Tommaso Ciampa addressing Velveteen Dream to stay out of the champ's business, focus on what you need to focus on, and pretty much he says he's going to turn Velveteen's Dream into a nightmare. Nothing really, just a standard heel promo. Nothing much, nothing special about that. Then we have a 6-man tag, which is Mixon, Rise, and Kirsch versus the Forgotten Sons. Quite frankly, I have no idea who most of these folks are. I guess Mixon, Rise, and Kirsch must have been jobbers, because who comes out with a name like Mixon, Rise, and Kirsch with their first names? Then the Forgotten Sons, Wesley Blake is the only one who's familiar to me, because he was tag teaming with Buddy Murphy back while they were, they had that whole thing going with Alexa Bliss way long time ago. But to me, the Forgotten Sons look like a bootleg version of Sanity. It's not good. Minus Nikki Cross. Or maybe like a redneck militia version of Sanity. It was pretty much a squash match. Nothing special there. After this, we have a video package for setting up for the NXT Women's Championship, which next match will take place at Evolution, the All Women's Pay-Per-View. I believe it's the 28th of October at Nassau Coliseum, where we have defending champion Kairi Sane going against Shayna Baszler, who's invoking her rematch clause. After that, we have Johnny Gargano versus Tony Nese. It was a filler, but it shouldn't have been a filler. And it's just like, okay, we gotta put this in there. I don't know, maybe it's because Candace had the match earlier, so they felt like they had to put Johnny in there, just because Johnny Gargano is too much to be doing, and should be. Wow, I did not even realize that. To be doing matches with 205 Live talents like Tony Nese. Now I don't know what the deal is with having 205 Live jump to NXT, or even some talent from the main roster go back to NXT. But Johnny Gargano beat Tony Nese. And then lastly, we got Lars Sullivan versus EC3. And that's the main event of the evening. It was a lot of tension between the two after, Lars attacked EC3. EC3 was, upset, and, they go back and forth. To me, it was quite boring. Lars Sullivan is good and underrated. EC3 is, in my opinion, is overrated. And the whole top 1% thing, like, you that's not for him. Like, I can see the top 1% being more like for a character like Bobby Roode. in some ways like that. But that setup. The match ended. I'm sorry. The match ended with Lars Sullivan getting a giant headbutt, a diving headbutt onto EC3 after hitting him with a freak accident onto the ring apron. And yeah, that's pretty much how the show ends. So those are sorry about that. That was my review of last night's lineup for WWE programming, at least for 205 Live and NXT. Hopefully y'all can hear me a little bit better. I'm still working on doing the background. I gotta work on a whole lot of extra stuff too. Trying to find me some software and edit and get everything situated to look a little bit more professional, so to speak. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate it if you made it this far. Just to give it a like, comment, share, and subscribe. I appreciate all of y'all, and we'll see what we got for later.